I really believe tattoo artists can really impact the world with a power of love because of all the pain. It's just having brothers like us in their life, a ways to realize how to shift it and become creative overcomers versus just victims because of what happened to me versus, or did this happen for us so we can fucking actually really show up. Ladies and gentlemen, my brothers, my sisters from all over the world, welcome back to the Tattoo Guardians podcast show. And boy, today I got a treat for you. Woo, my heart is already full. In case you can't tell, I'm a little excited. A little bit different today. We're making history today. Both of my co-hosts are out painting the streets in love. Hip and Josh are both out for different reasons. So Mr. Matt Clemmer here holding it down. But I am not alone today. I am accompanied with fucking treasure. Oh, one of a fucking amazing guest. Like, maybe the best one yet. What is? And I shouldn't compare. All guests we've had great. But this one's true to my heart. And guys, so many of you know I am the founder of Tattoo Business Mastery, that I am a coach, that I am a mentor. But you guys also know I too am the student and have continued to look for growth, that I too have coaches, that I too have mentors, right? And today, a good brother, a good friend, one of my main coaches, my main mentors, who actually is the reason why Tattoo Business Mastery even exists or ever got off the ground. My coach and my mentor that helped me not only create Tattoo Business Mastery, but empowered me with the tools and the courage and the belief to even serve it to the world, which led to this show, the Tattoo Guardians podcast. Thank God for all the people in your life that believed in you more than you believed in you, right? And I thank God for the people in mine that believed in me more than I believed in me, consistently helping me get the fuck out of my own way so that I could show up and serve the world as the best version of me. How many of you all know this thing called mastery is a lifestyle, not an arrival point, right? True masters are the truest students, always walking open. So today I have my brother, a very, very special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I just want to introduce my coach, my mentor, my brother, Mr. Andrew Kroeze, in the house today. Happy day. What up, brother?
Oh, the introduction.
Hey!
You are the best hype man.
Woo! Well, you make it easy because the fact that you're in the building got me hype, you know?
Let's go.
Oh, jeez, man. And you guys may be shocked because this man looks young, right? I think he's younger than me. Well, he fucking is. But he's rich in spirit and in soul and in wisdom, man. Has gone through so much in his own life and has taken, and Andrew, I believe, will speak to this, radical responsibility, which has caused him to grow so much in his life. Just to give you a little brief background, and I'll let Andrew share his heart even more. Again, you guys know why, I'm big on who do you listen to. So why would a guy like me pick him as my coach and mentor? There must be something real fucking cool and special about this guy. Abso-fucking-lutely. And he had what I wanted. The knowledge, the wisdom, the implementation, the proof, and the fruit in his life, right? And you guys all know, you listeners know that's a big deal. Who do you listen to? Quit taking directions from dudes that ain't never been where you trying to go, right? Who do you listen to? The brothers, the sisters, the masters that have already been there, that are already doing it and already have the proof, have already paved the way and can lead and usher you there to your best self. Now, we need each other. And this man has been such a rock and a pillar in my life. And even not only what he's created in business and the impact that he's created in the world, in so many different communities and niches and just literally like having his hand in so many other businesses, from coaching programs to courses to agencies, you fucking name it. And even the tattoo artist lives like Matt Clemmer and all the Guardians, like there's always someone behind the scenes, behind the curtains that's really helping pull the strings, really empowering those of us that are out on the front lines with the microphone. You see us on stage, but we usually have such power behind us that don't always get seen, that don't always get the credit until moments like now. And another thing this man has built has especially compared to me, is wealth, even financial freedom and wealth. And I had the honor of going out almost a year ago and kicking it with him in Encinitas, California. I was in his coaching program and his mastermind. Little did I know, he too was being called a different direction, and I flew out to kick it with my mentor, my coach, the CEO and founder of the main mastermind that I was in and have been. Little did I know when I was on the plane flying through the air that Andrew here fucking sold the whole company, and I didn't even know it. And I'm in a layover in Dallas on my way to his house, and I look down on Facebook, and there's like all these people talking about it and, processing the fact that our leaders just like deuces, right? But of course it wasn't like that. He definitely had a heart for all of his children, all of his students, and made the transition that we would all not be left on red and still take care of. But it was just beautiful. And I was honored that I got to be with him when he was in such transition in his life, right? Bob Marley said it best when he said, some people are so poor, all they have is money, right? Who is it? Les Brown says, everybody says money can't buy you happiness, but everybody want to find out for themselves, right? And a lot of people talk shit about money. A lot of tattoo artists, have a real weird emotional connection around this thing called money. But again, who do you listen to? I would rather listen to a man who knows it because he's had it, has it, experienced it, to know from a real place of experience and knowing. What do you do when you do build impact and legacy and hit all your goals and become a multimillionaire and running 8 to 10 figure businesses? Now what? Well, folks, that's who we've got sitting here with us today to share from his heart, his whole heart, on what the fuck really matters in this vulnerable journey called life and everything that don't. From his experience, that's a little bit of background. And Andrew and I have known each other, I don't know, a year or 2 years now. A while now. And now I'm just rambling because I'm excited, brother. But what's coming up for you on any of the things on this? Was that an okay setup for you on a little background?
That was more than amazing.
Okay, good.
When you were talking, I was thinking, what is the biggest impact that I can make in the short amount of time that we have together for your audience? And what rang true to me when you were talking and me answering that question in my head was come from the heart, not from the head. Where I feel like when I was in my last business, it created so many problems, and actually throughout just about my entire 20s, from overthinking stuff, from not taking the time to just like get out of the head through meditation, from alone time, through breath work. Just anytime working out, just getting back into the body. If I had just done that more, I would have led more from the heart and gotten out of the head. So that's the number one thing that rings true to me, has made one of the biggest impacts in my life, is making sure that I take time to just get out of my head from getting into the body. And I've found that I've come more from heart, spirit, flow, from not overthinking stuff as much. It still happens. Our brains are wired that way, but
that's beautiful. And did you find, it's vulnerable, it's scary to some folks, because some people, to let your guard down, to lead from the heart, feels like it can be riskier for some folks. That they don't want to get hurt. They don't want to get judged, which throws them back up in their head of worrying about looking good, right? Which is the trap. Which is a fucking trap. Like, nothing trumps the heart. Nothing trumps real love. But why does most of the world have such a problem operating from that place, do you think?
Our minds are a trap. I was trapped in my mind for the longest time. I was depressed from 18 years old to 24 years old because I went through some pretty heavy heartbreak when I was 18. We could get into that story. But when I was 24, I had been for those 6 years in and out therapy, taking Wellbutrin, Lexapro, drinking 4 or 5 nights a week, addicted to Adderall, just miserable. I felt so numb for 6 years. And the turning point was reading this poem by William Ernest Henley called Invictus. And the final 2 lines were, "I'm master of my fate, I'm captain of my soul."
Say that again.
I am master of my fate, I am captain of my soul.
Love it.
And I was like, I had been thinking for so long, 6 years, I need to make a change. I need to make a change. I need to make a change. And then for some fucking reason, those 2 lines just jumped out at me, and I was like, I can do anything I want in this life. I am master of my fate. I am captain of my soul. And I remember I was in a small Chicago apartment, and I ran across the street to a pizza shop and grabbed a free calendar that I knew was on the counter, and I marked off 90 days. And I was like, I'm going to be 20 pounds lighter, and I'm going to be 90 days sober. And the next 90 days, I marked off with an X every day I was sober. I tracked my macros and my fitness pal, hit the gym 5-6 days a week. And day 45, I broke down and cried in the shower, and cried in 6 years before that. I finally started to feel again. And then day 75, I was 21 pounds lighter. I looked down at the scale at the YMCA. It said 162 pounds, 21 pounds lighter. And then 15 days later, I was 90 days sober. And that was the turning point for my entire life, where I was like, wow, if I put my mind to something and I just do it, then I can make anything out of this life. And then I quit my job. I started my first business, and it's been a journey, but it hasn't been just straight up. There have been peaks and valleys for sure, because that's life. Yeah. But I am so much happier, so much more. I think what means more is connected. I'm more connected to myself. I'm more connected to others. Now with this past year-long journey, I'm more connected to my purpose, and life just tends to flow so much easier. Like it got easier when I stopped trying to be going through the same routines that just made me comfortable, when really I wasn't comfortable. I was incredibly uncomfortable. I was just lying to myself. Yeah.
Man. So what I'm also hearing you say is, because part of that process is a letting go.
Yeah. Letting go to a lot of things. I think it's very, very, very hard to let go. It was very hard for me to let go when I wasn't connected to myself. I think I needed to be proud of myself first. I think I needed to show myself that I loved myself through taking that action and losing that weight and quit drinking. And then when I was finally like, oh, Andrew, I remember like throughout that process of the 90 days, I kept being like, yo, I'm proud of me. Would wake up in the middle of the night and feel my sides. I didn't feel any fat anymore. And I was like, damn, I'm proud of me.
Yes.
And like, that was just an upward spiral, when for the past 6 years, I was going in a downward spiral. And it was just what I realized is we're really just one decision away from a totally different life. It's just about making that decision.
You know, and oftentimes, because even people may be listening right now and be like, well, that sounds cool, but I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know what to decide. I don't even know how. I know that I'm uncomfortable, as you said. I'm not happy. I feel like I need to change something in my life, but I don't even know how, right? Um, what do you think leads someone to even discovering the how? Because something I teach my students a lot is the good news is the how isn't our job nearly as much as focusing on what do we want? Who must I become? Who do I want to be? What kind of life do I want to live? Focusing on the what and the who. And the how will reveal itself once you clearly decide what, right? That's been my experience. Like, I feel called. I want to do this. I want to do this thing called Tattoo Business Mastery, but I don't fucking know how, right? But the how, I've noticed, will show up and reveal itself as we give ourselves permission to decide and define the what, right?
Yeah.
That's why I always ask people starting out with my students, we talk about their identity and their vision. What do you want? And Andrew, some people have a really good idea what they think they want, and they just don't have a clue of what the how is. And then there's a lot of folks that don't even know. When I finally give them permission, like, you can have anything. The whole universe is here to take your order. We got it all. What do you want? So many people are like, well, fuck, I guess I don't know.
I think that's perfectly okay. I didn't know what the hell I wanted. I wanted all I was thinking was negativity when I was depressed. It was like, I don't want this. I don't want to be a drinker. I don't want to hang out with these people. I don't want to eat these foods, but I still do it. I knew I didn't want that. So I knew I didn't want drinking. So I just went the opposite way. That was the first step. It was like, just the things I didn't want was just like, okay, one thing at a time. It was the drinking, then it was the food. And then I started to change my friends group because I started to change. So it's okay to not know what we want. The thing is, we know what we don't want. So it's okay to go through a process of removing those things that we don't want. Because then when we do, it clears up space in our mind to think about what we want. We don't know what we want because we're always thinking about what we don't want.
Yes.
And what this one exercise can totally change somebody's life right now. So whoever's listening, I highly recommend that you write these things down. And I just came across it recently, and we have all the brothers in my brotherhood do it. And it's helped me out a lot. Like, I'm not perfect. And when I went through this exercise, I became even happier than I already was. And if I could go back to my 23, 24-year-old self, my 18-year-old self who was super depressed, I would have told him to do this, which is make a list of everything that you do that you never regret doing. It's a never regret list. And list out everything. So for me, meditation, reading, breath work, connecting with loved ones, everything. Just keep going as long as you can go. And then fill your time up with those things. And keep that list in front of you. Because that is the list that will prevent us from falling into these bad habits or these vices that we have. Our energy starts to shift because we start trading our time with doing things that we don't want, thinking about the things that we don't want, and we fill up our time with the things that fill us up, that we never regret doing. Even though, like, going into breath work, sometimes it's like, oh, I don't want to do that. Or meditation, oh, I got to sit down for 10 minutes. But then when I have my list, I'm like, well, I'm not going to regret it. But if I scroll social media mindlessly, if I go out drinking, I'm going to regret it. I'm going to feel shitty, or my energy is going to lower. And what I found is, like, when my energy is higher, at a higher vibration, and I'm feeling better, I naturally flow more with life. I naturally attract more amazing people into my life. And with everybody, it's all an energy thing. And it's not a mind thing. It's an energy thing. It's our energy leads our mind. And the more I've been tapped into my own energy, the more I've just been, like, more flowy. Feel like I have less thoughts in my head, because it used to be all consuming, where it's just like negativity. And with positivity, it just feels like flow, you know?
That's so good. That's so good. And I love that exercise in creating that list and tangibly writing it down instead of just having your own mental checklist. Like, well, I don't ever regret, loving on grandma. I don't ever regret loving on my kids, whatever the case may be. But to actually make a list and to keep going, because it made me realize, like, the list is probably bigger than what one might think once you get into the doing of it.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love because I get accused of being real fucking positive, because I am. And people will be quick to think, oh, well, that Matt Clemmer dude, he must just not have any problems, not like me. He must not seen pain. That dude skips rainbows. Which they really don't know is, no, quite the contrary. I've seen so much hurt, and I've experienced so much pain, that pain has taught me great love.
Yeah.
Right? Pain is what makes my positivity all the more real. My God, I love how, and so not only getting accused of positivity, but, even with my coaching, like mindset, but you just took it to a whole nother level that, like, even before mindset, it's energy.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. That's one thing I want to shift in the world. And one thing that's made the biggest impact on my life, like, has just been changing my energetic state, which if we break it down on a biological level, it's shifting our hormones, our neurotransmitters, that sort of stuff, go scientific with you. But like how I shift my energy is when I want to be more light, more loose, more kind of in my body and stuff. I want to release more endorphins. And there are multiple ways that we can go about that, doing it naturally. So endorphins can come from laughing, from watching a comedy set, from laughing with a friend. It can come from working out. It can come from breath work. So if I want to feel more light and loose, I shift my energy, becoming more light and loose through exercise. If I want to feel more connected, more human, more bonded to somebody else, I want to release oxytocin. Oxytocin comes through empathy, comes through empathizing with another. So being with a loved one and sharing deep stories with them. Like when we share these deep stories, when we share those hugs, we release more oxytocin and we feel more connected and we feel more human. And then dopamine, where we feel more alert, more focused, that sort of stuff. If I want that energy, then I learn a new skill set. Then I go on YouTube and search all the skill sets around, let's say, copywriting. That's one thing that I want to get better at. I look at all the frameworks on YouTube, copywriting on YouTube, and I'm learning something new and I get lit up by that. And that's why I recommend, if anybody is depressed, is just pick one skill set you really want to learn. Go to YouTube and just start watching and taking a few notes. They don't need to be great notes. Just take some notes and implement that stuff. We'll naturally release more dopamine, be more focused, more lit up. And then serotonin, to feel more grounded, to get out of my head, out of my mind. If I want that energy, I do breath work. So there are multiple different types of breath work. Wim Hof breath work is probably the most famous if you haven't done it. And you want to feel more grounded and you want to get out of mind, just download the Wim Hof Breathwork app and you will have a crazy sensation from it. But if you've never done it, it will probably blow your mind because you're releasing a lot of serotonin. You'll feel way more grounded. You'll feel out of your mind, or like more in your body. So energetic states are really just different changes in brain waves, in our hormones, in our neurotransmitters. That's really what our own energetic body is and what it emanates. And we can naturally release these things through different activities and like activities in conversation. So like us talking right now, if we talk about a story of empathy, talk about my depression, like everybody listening will release more oxytocin because it's empathy and they'll feel more into it. That's why we feel that way. Anything through storytelling or learning something, we're releasing more dopamine. That's why we listen to podcasts and we feel more focused. We feel more motivated. And then endorphins. If we go through and laugh throughout the rest of this podcast, then we'll release more endorphins and feel more light and more loose.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So good. And as you're growing in this yourself, have you noticed it's caused you to be more sensitive, alert, and aware of other people's energy?
Yeah, the more I feel connected to myself, the more I feel connected to others. So I'll cry once a week now.
Man, yeah.
It feels great because I didn't cry for 50 years and that sucked.
Dude, Andrew, these are a bunch of tattoo artists weighing on that pussy shit, boy. I'm just playing.
You guys are hard.
That's some bitch shit, man. Ain't no bitches on here. I'm just playing. No, I've been going through the same process, even my own students, because thanks to brothers like you in my life, I've been living transparent as fuck. And even this season I've gone through, I've been learning new levels of surrender. Even Mike here in the podcast, I mean, he witnessed a night where I just like had it and basically, found my breaking point. Even my wife was like, "Matt, everyone has a breaking point." And I'm like, "I know, but I wasn't supposed to find mine." Jeez, like,
I'll go away.
I'm the strong one. I'm the leader. I'm the one that's helping everybody else, not me. Like, fuck, And I was sitting here, internal turmoil, and Mike was sitting there like he is right now behind the camera, just glaring at me with a smirk on his face. And I look up at him and he just said one word to me. He was like, "Surrender." I'm like, "Dude, I get it, man. I can accept this. I can accept everything. I'm all about acceptance." And he was like, "I know that seems real similar, but surrender, it's actually different than acceptance." I'm like,
Mike is deep.
He is. He is, that motherfucker, damn it. And that led me to surrendering, which for me was like letting all the pressure out. And it too caused me to cry, and I hadn't cried in a while. Now I can cry happy tears. I'll watch a fucking Hallmark commercial and get teary, right? But to surrender to pain, mine was all bottled up. I likened myself to being like in a video game, because the storm that I've been facing in my life, even with my wife still fighting for her life, and and I say things like, "Man, I'm human. I have down days. I get discouraged too. I just don't pitch a tent and stay there," right? And I took pride in being like, "Fucking everyone else can fold and go, but we're in the middle of war. We're in the middle of a storm, and I'm on the front lines. They need me." But and so I didn't think there was time. I thought after the storm, after this battle's over, then I'll go collapse, right? I can't do it during. And I'm also a man of gratitude. So part of me had the story that if I cry now, if I admit how tough this is now, that it's throwing me out of gratitude. Now I'm complaining, right? Not realizing, like I realize now, no, it's okay. And you can have both, and I liken it to a video game to where if apparently, Andrew, some of those tents I blew by that they were medical tents for me to get filled up, and I'm like, "Fuck you," and just kept on going. Now I've got one little red dot and one life left, about to die in this game because I didn't know how to surrender and recharge. And that's what I've been learning on a whole new level in this season, and just like surrendering to share it even with my own students. I went from thinking, since I'm the authority, I'm supposed to have my shit together, I'm teaching them that my vulnerability to expose my own ass and be like, "Guys, I'm human and I'm struggling too." That vulnerability is become the superpower.
Yeah, they see that they can do it too. Like they're like, "Well, if he's going through shit, well, I can go through shit and I can still take the action like he's taking." And to your point of just not like just it being just radically honest with where you're at and that sort of stuff. I still do that too.
Yeah.
But one quote is what we resist persists.
Yes.
That always rings true to me. If I'm not authentically just like, hey, I don't feel good right now. It doesn't mean I should take it out on others or go in a fit of rage in front of others, but I should let people know where I'm at. I don't feel good, but life isn't short. It's the longest thing I've ever done, and it's the longest thing I ever will do. It's okay to be feeling shitty right now. It's just a season. Life is about seasons. It's okay that I'm in a season of not feeling well, because I know that winter will turn to spring and will turn to summer, and I'll feel good again. But when we resist that season, or if we're not aware of that season, is even worse. But if we're aware and we resist it, it's going to persist. But if we radically accept it and be like, hey, this is where I'm at right now, but I can take the steps, and I will take the steps, and I intend to take the steps to change this and accept it and then change it. That's when we can evolve and move into the next season of life.
My God. Yes, you're so right. Even knowing what season you're in, brother, I was like a dude wearing swimming trunks standing in the middle of a blizzard like it's summer. And there's a fucking snow everywhere. It's snowing. And I'm freezing my ass off with swimming trunks on like, it's summer. Nope, it's not winter. But it was fucking winter. You know? Jeez, dude. I finally surrendered to the season. Like, okay, it's not summer. Fuck. I can't just declare it to be summer right now. But
you can put those clothes on.
That's it.
You know you're in winter now. You can put that coat on. That's totally cool. And that's how it changes. We start to feel better when we accept it.
Jesus.
Kind of paradoxical, you know?
For all you tattoo artists out there, and you collectors, you listeners, you fans, you beautiful human beings that every week tune in to this show, number one, I thank you. Number two, I hope this conversation is empowering you and giving you permission. We're all about giving our brothers and sisters permission here, Andrew. But I need to tell you guys one thing right now, especially you tattoo artists. If you're anything like me, we're big on presentation. And if you're anything like me, I'm all or nothing. I'm all in or nothing, or I always have been. If Matt Clemmer's going to do something, we going to do it. We going to fucking show up and shell out. We going all out, or else I'm not fucking doing it until it's going to be powerful and almost appear as perfect. Until I'm ready, then I'm not doing it yet. It's not ready yet. Well, guess what? That caused me to do a whole lot of nothing. Because it was never fucking ready. It was never fucking perfect. And this was one of the first mantras that Andrew imparted into me that changed my whole fucking life. And I had to take this on, which was this thing that he called imperfect action. I was not taking action because it wasn't perfect yet. I wasn't going to put my name on that yet. I wasn't going to share it to the world yet. It ain't ready until it's perfect. And again, I've learned now that clarity comes in the doing. And if it wasn't for a brother like Andrew in my life to be like, Matt, ready or not, you've got the goods. You must take action. Yeah, it may not be perfect, but the perfection of the thing will come with the clarity once you're in the doing. You must take imperfect action. And guys, again, when you focus on what you want, the universe will deliver unto you. God, source the universe, will bring you the how. And you will be surprised. The hoops God, source in the universe will jump through for you on your behalf to bring the right people into your life, the right resources. And same with me. And even though Andrew was a coach of mine, CEO of a huge organization, and I was one of the lucky ones that had direct contact with him. I could meet him over Zoom like this every week to get fed, to get coached. And it still, for whatever reason, I was still scared to launch Tattoo Business Mastery. So what's God, source, the universe do? Creates a way for me to hop on a plane and fly out to his house and kick it with him one-on-one in the flesh. And now it's like I've been given the gift of this man, my coach, who coaches hundreds and hundreds, and I get him all to myself one-on-one for him to basically bitch slap me, sit me down and be like, Matt, take action, do the thing right the fuck now. And that led me to eventually launching what we now know as Tattoo Business Mastery. But it's all because I decided, and I had a brother that believed in me, to take imperfect action, and that the clarity has come and continues to come in the doing. And so, Andrew, that alone has changed my life, brother.
Dude, thank you. And one thing that stuck with me, or like one quote that I live by is, done is better than perfect. When we're starting anything, done is better than perfect.
Oh,
and like why like over this past year, I've gone through a year of self-discovery, going through burnout in my last business, selling the business, went through a breakup with my girlfriend, had a falling out with my best friend, got in a car accident, woke up in the hospital, like had a lot of stuff hit the fan last year, went through a period of just depression again, and went to an ashram and for a month and meditated and did yoga and all that stuff for a month. And I finally reconnected to myself because I had that space. And I've been coming up with all of these. I've been thinking deeply about just philosophy and how the world works, and realizing that I don't know shit. Like, I don't know, like, we don't know as a human species. And,
yes.
And the more I've accepted that, the more I've learned. And
My
the more
God.
I realize I don't know stuff.
Oh my God.
But one thing is why imperfect action, why done is better than perfect works, is because the only gap between where we're at and where we want to go are our skill sets. And when we take imperfect action and just do the work, we start to build up that skill set. We start to pick up data points in our life that we can reflect back on and then connect the dots. But like me, for 6 years, I was in rumination in my head. What do I want? Thinking like I was sucked into society telling me I needed to be a certain way instead of just taking the action to figure out who I actually was. And I started to create data points, started to connect those data points, like not in a process. It just happened in my head from just taking the action. And I started to build up skill sets slowly but surely over time. And like, the thing is, I'm not where I want to be. I will never be where I want to be. I think that's the beauty of life, being a journey, that I get to keep growing, that I get to keep building these skill sets and taking the imperfect action, and I get to keep growing. I don't think there's a single human being on this planet is where they exactly want to be. And that's the beauty of life. And I think I am so happy. Like, I love all the people in my life now. I'm really connected with. I am filled with so much love and joy, but I know there's more. And it doesn't mean I need more. Like, I want more. And that's one thing I want to go into too, that I've been thinking about, is needing and wanting. Needing is from a place of scarcity. I need this. Why? When we say we need something, it tells our body, our energy in our body, that we're not whole and complete. But if we're whole and complete, we say, I want that. I want more. And then to tap into another energy, it's, I want more, and I intend to get that. I intend to do more. So like, there's a shift from constantly saying, I need this, I need this, I need this. Ooh, it feels weird in my body because I'm saying I'm not whole and complete, but I want this. I intend to do this. That has shifted a lot for me.
Dude, I love that. You know, we had a mutual friend on the show just a few episodes ago, Ashley Mondor, our mutual sister, and she said a one-liner that kind of sums that up, that I really appreciated it, which is 1 foot in gratitude and 1 foot in desire, right? And I really loved that because, you know, we can be so thankful for what we have right now. I'm happy where my feet are. and I got one foot here in gratitude, but it's okay for me to still have one foot in desire. I still want more, and that's okay. You know, one thing I cover with my students, so many people, especially tattoo artists, get stuck in what I call the tyranny of Orr, right? And we create Orrs. Well, either right now in this season of my life, I'm going to double down on my business, go extra hard, or be a more present and better father and husband. Like right now, I need to really go hard on business. But honey and kids, you won't see dad a whole lot just this season, but I'm doing this now so we can be together later. Like an or versus just living into a different question, which is what I call the abundance of and to live into a different question. What does it look like for me to kill it in business and be the best fucking father and husband in the world at the same damn time? How can I have this and this, be up to this and this? The abundance of and versus the tyranny of or, you know. And to an old mentor of mine used to say this one-liner, which didn't make sense to me at the time, but it does today. He would say, because he'd be so grateful but still have a want. He knew he was whole and complete and wasn't needy but still had more desire. And how he would rattle it off, he would say, he was an old preacher friend of mine, he would say, I am satisfied with the dissatisfied satisfaction. You know, I'd be like, oh. I'd be like, wait, what? I'm satisfied with the dissatisfied satisfaction, you know?
Yeah. I love that. There's in like David Goggins too, like in Jocko Willink, like their attitude to life, it's hyper masculine, but it has a lot of good elements where it's just like when shit hits the fan, good. Everything is good. And that changes his life. Like I got in a car crash, good. Like it's extremely good. Like we take that attitude with everything in life, it changes our perspective on life. And one thing I want to get into, oh my gosh, this has been a life changer for me. So a lot of society has a core belief, and the beliefs are what run our thoughts. The core belief of society is life happens to me. That everything is just boom happening. But there's a level that, like, the next level is life happens for me.
Come on.
And the biggest shift that we can make in our core belief system is when we start saying life happens for me, we start gathering the lessons from life.
Come on.
Like, even when shit hits the fan, we're like, oh, okay, what's the lesson here? And we start making more meaning out of life. And then when we feel like our life is empty and meaningless and we shift the perspective to life happens for me, we start creating meaning and life becomes meaningful. It's just that core belief shift. But there's another level to it where life happens for me is the ascension. And then we can, the side ascension, if we can hold these two beliefs to be true at the same time, this is the ultimate growth. Okay. Life happens for me and life happens because of me. So I am the change agent in life. And when shit hits the fan, I'm gathering the lessons from that. So we're balancing the feminine of life happening for me with the masculine life happens because of me. And when we can create that masculine feminine balance inside of us, we can tap into either one at any time, which is ultimate power. The feminine being the release of control, the masculine being the control. Wow. So that is the ultimate power. And then I have a philosophy that we can actually get to the top, which is the belief that life happens through me.
Say it, boy. Woo! My man's preaching today, boy. Hey.
I'm still in that middle tier of life happens for me and life happens because of me. But I think the more time I live in this belief and the more I'm able to tap into the masculine when I need control or want control and tap into the feminine when I want control, then I can get to a place where I have a balance of both, where life is happening through.
My God. And you know what? Back to the awareness, because I wonder what You need to either let go of or to see, to notice that life already is, even in this fucking moment, happening through you to thousands of people listening under the sound of our voices right now. That whether you feel like it or not, notice it or not, are aware of it, life has been happening through you. I mean, it's easy for me to say because I'm not in your painting. I'm observer and seeing you and seeing life happening through you. My life's been enriched because of life happening through you to me, for me, right? That's so fucking powerful, and I just love.
I think life is just a purification process. Life is always happening through us, right? But the more we can take that action or like tap into that feminine and purify us with our beliefs, with our values, with our vision, and purify who we are and more tapped into who we are, that intent of life happening through us and that vehicle happening, like moving outwards to other people.
Yes.
The more we purify that, the closer we get to connection to ourselves, connection to other, connection to our purpose.
My God, so good. And you're so right, man. Even my own wife, who's been battling, for I think we're on 11 months now, she even got to a place, and she's died an ego death, and it's just been amazing to see. And all the things we were programmed to think, like for someone to be enlightened, for someone to get freedom or get purged or get some wisdom or knowledge, you must seek it out. You must be willing. And she alone is the proof that that's not the way, or at least the only way, because she was angry, pissed, 2 middle fingers up in the air, floating off into the abyss like fuck it and fuck it all, right? Not seeking, wasn't open to hearing anything, not reading nothing, literally just floating off into the abyss and almost ready to give up. And in that darkness, the abyss is what she called it. And I think there was a part of her letting go, but it was almost just like, fuck it. And that's when everything shifted for her. And she even got to and so many downloads in her, like such spiritual wisdom and realizing how we're all fucking connected and that life is in even this. She's realized this happened for her, for us. And she was even able to get to the place of almost being thankful that even this has happened, what seemed like to her, switching for her, and now is through her. And we're still not out of the woods. What changed? Our circumstances? No. But everything changed because it's something inside of her has changed. And it's just blown my fucking mind, man.
I love it. Like, that's so powerful. Like, I felt the same way. I'm sure there are listeners out there that feel that way, that life is happening to them right now. And that's how I felt for 6 years, going through massive depression, feeling numb, and just constantly being like, oh, why does this keep happening? Why does this keep happening? Why can't I change? And now I look back with so much gratitude. I think if I didn't feel that pain that I went through, that I wouldn't have this capacity to love for others and love for myself.
Come on, man. God, you're so right.
Yeah. I thank God I made that decision to make that change. I think I could have made it earlier, but at the same time, everything happens for a reason, and everything happens in perfect timing. And like, just people listening to us right now, me having this conversation with you, I'm picking up so many lessons, and I might not have it like at the forefront of my brain, like in the future, but I know it's soaking into me. And like, this conversation is happening for a reason, and something magical that you said on this podcast is going to come out of me later on. I'm not going to know where it came from, but I'm putting myself in the right situations to be just being filled with love from you and knowledge from you. And that goes back to I'm just so grateful to be in this moment right now.
My God. No kidding, man. All you listeners, you're here with us in spirit. Separation's an illusion. And yes, I'm talking to you. If you're listening, you driving to work today, we fucking talking to you, you know? This episode is for you. Happening for you. But what you even mean the bad shit? Like, because oftentimes when we use it, life's happening for me, it's easy to say that when good shit happens. Well, thank God this just happened for me. Obviously, this is for me. But when shit seems like an attack, when it seems like resistance, when it seems like opposition, when it seems like the bottom just fell out and makes us throw our hands up like, fuck, I'm not in half the amount of control I thought. This, too, is something to be thankful for, is happening for me. You know, an old mentor of mine used to take on any situation, especially things that seemed negative, and he would shift his head and say the same thing every time. Wow, even this is going to be real interesting to see how this works out to my benefit.
Yeah. I mean, what I have noticed, the more I've tapped into life happens for me, when I tap into that, my awareness expands. When I say life happens to me, I get in my head. But when I say life happens for me, my awareness expands. So I create more possibilities in my life. So for example, when I was in Costa Rica, I was at a jungle party with a bunch of friends. And we were dancing, then I lost him. It was a big party. Like I was all alone.
Yeah, in Costa Rica, you lost your friends. It's nighttime. We're in a jungle party.
Away from where I was staying and didn't have a ride home. So I was like, okay, life happens. Life is happening for me. So I felt a little like nudge in my body. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to overthink this. I'm just going to go where my heart's leading me. And I see this beautiful girl sitting on the hillside. Long blonde hair, definitely my type. And I'm in a mood to just like converse with people. So I sit down next to her, feel out her energy. I look over, she's smiling, and I just say, hey. Yeah. And we go deep. We talk about masculinity, femininity, studying those energies, that sort of stuff. We don't stop talking for a good 45 minutes.
So she immediately became even more attractive, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
So we're just boom, 45 minutes nonstop time. Then we go on a little beach walk. We cut a little bit. We're just talking, and she had come with another guy there. She's like, I need to go back to that guy. I feel bad. I'm like, okay. So I walk her back to that guy, and then we swap contact information. And then an hour later, I run into her again. And she's like, hey, you want to go dance? So we go to the dance floor. And when we're dancing together, she looks down at my wrist and she's like, what's your tattoo say? Oh my God. She had the same Mach tube tattoo on her arm. The same tattoo that I had, an Arabic tattoo that means it is written, everything happens for a reason. And we traveled together for 3 weeks. She's amazing. We still talk every single week. She was a German girl in Costa Rica with the same Arabic tattoo that I had. If I didn't have the belief that life is happening for me in that moment where my friends left, I would have never met that girl and had that amazing experience.
Oh my God.
So that I started believing that even more.
Yes, brother. Jeez, that's beautiful, man. I love that. And since we just touched on Mach Tube, that leads to another one of the best books I've ever, I was about to say read, but I listened to it on audio.
I say I read it, but I listened to it.
Okay. That was referred to me by Andrew. Now, for this book has been referred to me for at least the past decade and a half by different friends, different clients. Even in my conversation, I'd have clients I'd be doing sleeves on that just thought I already knew and read this book. Once they realized I hadn't, they couldn't believe my language. The next session, they would show up with a hard copy and bless it to me as a gift. I still never read it. It wasn't until just last year that Andrew wanted me to create a sleeve design based from this book. And so I thought, well, shit, if I'm going to actually tattoo like some stories out of this book, I might as well read it, i.e. listen to it. And I've probably listened to it 8 times now, and I love it. What's the name of the book, Andrew?
The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
Such a good fucking book. And in there,
he wrote that book in 3 weeks. He said that it happened through him. He said he will never create another book like The Alchemist. Doesn't know how he did it. It happened through him.
Wow. And even Mike sitting here because he was with Mike was the one helping me, on the design. Mike got a little teary-eyed and was like, that book changed my life. And he read it when he was a young buck, and it was being brought back up in him. But throughout the story, after something happens, a wise man will just say, Maktub. Maktub. And I didn't even fully understand I didn't know what that word meant. But as the story went on, you get a sense of what it means just by how it's used in the setting and the moment in the sentence. But Maktub means what again?
It means it is written. It means that our story is already written. That everything that is bound to happen is going to happen. And how I interpret that is the more I tap into love and the more I tap into consciousness, the more I tap into my story. And I'm able to live that story. The more I tap into truth, which is love, which is consciousness, the more I am in that story.
And that's applicable to anyone, even like tattoo artists rolling up a big old blunt right now.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, it is.
Love.
Love is love. Truth is truth. Consciousness is consciousness. And like Katie has been downloaded with, we're all connected and part of the same body anyways, and we're all just unique expressions of the same source. My friends who believe in God say, and I used to say this too, you want to know what God looks like? Look in the fucking mirror. And he's got a unique expression, a manifestation of himself is you, is me,
We all came from the same source. We're all stardust.
My God.
Yeah. I think it's just our brains that make us feel disconnected. Yeah. Everything outside of us is just love and truth. Like you look at the trees, they're just love,
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's our brain, which is wired for fear, which is wired to keep us safe. That makes us feel depressed. That makes us feel anxious. Like it's just our brain, but everything else, our body, our heart, that's just pure love. And our body is just screaming at us sometimes, just saying, yo, make a change. Yeah. Make a change.
Yeah.
And then our brain overrides that. It's like, no, stay here. Stay here. You're safe. You're not going to die. But we're not living not to die. We're living for love. We're living for connection. We're living for growth. We're living for others.
My God. So beautiful, man. Jeez, I love that. Man. Whew. A thought just came up to me, and it was immediately leaving me, too. I'm going to see if I can grab it again real quick. Well, if it comes up, I'll get back to it. You said something earlier, a huge distinction, the difference between to look in instead of out. You know? And my co-host here, Hip, always talks about getting stuck in the trap of comparing his insides to other people's outsides.
Oh, Mike, again. Crushing it.
That one was from Hip, but still, my goodness. And something Hip always says too, because you're talking about our brains. He's like, man, he never goes in his own head. He's like, man, I never go in my own head without a friend and a flashlight. So
great.
And that is beautiful from head to heart. And I realize, and if you guys notice this, again, the awareness game, because I've always noticed I'll get unctions, I'll be led, truth will show up to me. I used to call it my inner voice. I'll be instructed. I'll have a knowing, boom, just in my heart, in my body, as you say. And I've got a split second or two to obey that unction before now my own mind is going to try and logically rationalize why that's bullshit, why that's not, and to immediately talk me out of it, But I've been able to distinguish the difference. My brain or my monkey mind that's either afraid or logical, because usually when we're led by our heart, it don't always seem logical. It seems crazy. It don't always make sense. And our own mind will talk us out of it real quick, like you were touching on. But I think that framework of knowing it's happening for me, and for us to, again, take imperfect action and trust that unction in your heart. But it's that game of, okay, how do I fucking realize not all thoughts are mine, and to make that shift to get out of your head and be led by the heart is a practice, wouldn't you say?
100%. I what helps me get out of my head and into my heart is exercise, is, my God, breath work. Look up Wim Hof or the Pause Breath Work app by Sam Skelly. That's been life-changing. Because what breath work does is it puts us more into a serotonin state. We oxygenate our blood, and we actually shut off part of our prefrontal cortex, so it's not running on overdrive and just thinking. But you do 10 minutes of that, you will be in a totally different state. You will feel more calm, and when you're calm, just tell yourself, there's nowhere I need to be, there's nowhere I need to go. And just let go.
That's powerful right there, because when so many of us will rob ourselves, myself included, from the present moment because my mind's worrying about something else I would be up to stop and be happy where my feet are and to say again what you just said. Just taking the pressure off and removing the anxiousness to there's nowhere I need to be, right? What else did you say? There's nowhere I need to be. There's nothing.
There's nowhere I need to go. There's nowhere I need to be. There's nowhere I need to go. There's nothing I need to do. Like, that is how I go into, that's how I end my breathwork sessions, and that's how I go into meditation. When I start my meditation, I just say, there's nowhere I need to be, there's nowhere I need to go. And then I just breathe in peace, and I feel it in my belly, and then I just breathe out love. Like, just in peace, out love. And then, and I have like thoughts come up naturally in meditation, and then I just go back to feeling my belly breath, in peace, out love. And the more I do that, it's not the meditation that is like changes like things. It's not that I need to get better in meditation. It's when I do the meditation, everything outside of the meditation gets better. Like daily life gets better.
Dude. So good. Oh my God. I'm just having a love attack right here, and I'm so grateful to have you on the show with me right now, man. For selfish reasons, for myself, because I just fucking love you so much. But for everyone, to get to introduce and share you with the world and with tattoo guardians all over the world, man, it's just been such a fucking blessing. You, like me, have a heart for people. You've been, guys, a year ago I was kicking it with Andrew, and he had built an empire and decided to let it go and was feeling called to something else. I mean, multi-million-dollar business, fucking just got rid of it. And then him and I are walking the streets of California, and he was basically like, man, I don't know, I might go be a monk, I might, and but him and I both have a heart for people and want to impact and change the world. But earlier, before we started this show, Andrew realized, like, you must change yourself first, and then the world. And you brought up a paradigm shift. And on his journey, guys, he has been, he fucking left, went to the desert. He's been to 11 different countries in the past how many months?
8 months.
In the past 8 months, you've been in 11 countries. My goodness. And in your experiences, he shared again before we started this show, what he now realizes is the simple ingredients for happiness. Those of you listening right now, if you could stand to have a little more happiness in your life, it was like CCP. What are the 3 things that you said leads to happiness?
Yeah, and I'm just so grateful that I've gotten to the point in my life through the action taken from learning how money works and learning how to build businesses where I've been able to afford to take time off and travel and all of that. And,
Yes.
that's what I always recommend to everyone. It's like learn how money works because it's the core component of our society. What
the
money
tool.
gives me it's a tool, it's a vehicle. It provides me with safety, it provides me with freedom, and it provides me with a vehicle to move my vision and my mission forward. So like if anybody is struggling with money, just learn how money works, learn how to create an offer, learn marketing systems, learn sales systems, and just learn how it flows. And you will get to a point where you have money, so you have that safety, you have that freedom. And it's just about learning those skill sets. So I wanted to put that down here.
I.e., join Tattoo Business Mastery. It will help you with that.
Like it's easy to demonize money and demonize people at the top using it for evil or whatever we want to call it. But you know yourself in your heart, and when you have money, you will use it for good.
Yes.
And it's usually the really good people who like demonize money because they see the evil people using it in a bad way. So
that's right.
Just want to put that out there. But having safety and security has allowed me to take time off, has allowed me to explore, has allowed me to travel, and has totally changed my perspective on being human and life and all that. And I got to connect with a lot of people and work with a lot of people in low-income communities. I donated and built a house in Baja, Mexico for a family. Got to connect deeply with them. I was in Marrakesh, Morocco, and got to walk through the markets and connect to these shop owners that were just like dirt poor but happy. Like what I noticed was like these people with no money were still so happy. And it's like in America, we're always chasing money, 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 and thinking that will make us happy. I'm here to tell you, it's really nice to have the freedom and safety, but it will not produce happiness. And what I discovered was with these people that were genuinely happy, smiling all the time, conversing, being in flow, was what they had was community. They had connection with others, and they had purpose. They went to their work with purpose. They were like, I am contributing through this vehicle, no matter how big, how small, they found purpose in their work. So community, connection, and purpose. And that's happiness right there.
I love that. You know, here in America, even here in the rural parts of Ohio where I live, because I'm close to the city. I'm in between Cincinnati and Columbus.
Ohio, baby.
Yeah, and that's another thing, all you listeners. Andrew originally hails from Ohio himself, and we never knew that. We never met in Ohio, but it was just,
I think Matt, dude, you came to Tribe Buyers Live.
Yes.
I still remember being on stage and just like scanning the crowd, and I never get locked into somebody's eyes when I'm on stage. I got locked into your eyes. I'm like, who is this magical being out there who looks like Sam Beam from Iron and Wine? Magical glow about him. And then I found out you were from Ohio and just how spiritual and how lit up and how driven by soul you are. And like that meeting on that dude, I still remember, it's so funny. I still remember your payment coming through for the ticket. And I remember looking you up on Facebook, like, who is this guy? And it was just like everything happened where I was like, there is some type of connection here since you bought that ticket, which is funny. I was checking that. I saw that on my phone in the same apartment that you were at in San Diego.
Wow.
Wow. And it was scared y'all, intimidating. I didn't know him or anyone. I didn't know anyone. I just knew I was supposed to go to this event. And even me telling my wife, and I knew, he had one guy on his team. His name is Brad Newman. And I knew Brad a little bit just from an online interaction. But I had to tell my wife, like, I'm going out to California. Well, for who? For what? Well, I don't know for sure, but to meet one of my friends and hopefully make another friends. Oh yeah, really? Which friend? Well, and for me to tell her we just were kind of friends online, she just thought it was crazy. Like, only you, Matt, are just gonna up and buy a ticket and go to some event where you know no one and you don't even really know what it's about. Again, I was just being led by the heart and applying this thing called courage and doing it anyways. Guys, when we have the courage to be led by the heart with no understanding, no crystal ball, no light at the end of the tunnel, you just have the next 3 steps in front of you lit up. Clarity comes in the doing. And like you, if you weren't led by your heart, you wouldn't have met that girl with the same connection and same tattoo and the same heart and aligned, and who's still a friend in your life to this very day. Same with me. You wouldn't be on this call right now. You and I may have never met, and you wouldn't have changed my fucking life if I would have just stayed in my head and be like, yeah, this don't make no sense, right?
Yeah, dude, from when I was 18 to 24, I was like, why can't I feel that love connection that I desire so much? And like, I wanted to connect deeply with women, with guys, whoever. It was because I wasn't connected to myself. It was because I was so depressed. It was because I wasn't proud of myself. It's because I wasn't making promises and keeping those promises to myself. Because like, I wasn't doing that, so I couldn't trust myself. So when I finally set that goal to lose 20 pounds, quit drinking, I showed myself that I can trust myself.
Wow.
That changed everything.
Wow.
And then I was able to connect with the heart, or connect with my heart more, so I could connect with other people's hearts. That's where I could trust my heart and let it lead me. And same thing with you. Like, you got such a big heart because you've gone through so much pain, and you've been able to set promises and keep promises to yourself. I think that's the simple equation of life.
Yes, brother. And that's another thing I believe everyone under the sound of our voice can relate to, and especially tattoo artists. Like, tattoo artists are a different breed. A lot of us tattoo artists know so much pain. A lot of tattoo artists are fatherless. A lot of tattoo artists is like come up in tough scenarios, are considered the rejects. A lot of tattoo artists have mad pain, right? And that's where I get to be a vessel in their life to process all of that and make beauty for ashes, and I really believe tattoo artists can really impact the world with a power of love because of all the pain. It's just having brothers like us in their life, a ways to realize how to shift it and become creative overcomers versus just victims because of what happened to me versus, or did this happen for us so we can fucking actually really show up, Another thing you taught me that I have all my students, and this was even just like the way of being, the groundwork you laid out for all of us for real fruit to be bared, which was to play full on out, to be vulnerable enough to show up and play full on out. You were always big on that. And that's where it starts, even with my students, to be so vulnerable, to play full on out, to be so transparent, to keep it 100 so that we can actually grow.
Yeah. And like, I know like there is still more in my tank to live to my full potential and with everyone. Like, I think what holds us back is our energy, like not tapping into our energy and alchemizing our emotions to be more positive. Like, it starts with, for me, it starts with the energy, with breath work, with meditation, with working out. And then I can actually play full out because I have my energy that capacity. When my energy is low, I can't play full out. So I got to change my energy first, and then I can play. I know I can play full out. Yeah. And one amazing exercise that I always have people do at events, I think you did it at Tribe of Buyers, is sit directly across from somebody for 90 seconds. You answer these questions with your partner just listening and not interrupting. And you ask, where am I playing small?
Mm-hmm.
What's that costing me?
Mm.
What's that costing my loved ones?
Mm.
What's that costing the world?
Jesus.
And I did that exercise for the first time at Alex Moscow's event at Congruent Coach Live. And I went deep. My dad was just diagnosed with cancer and type 2 diabetes in the same like 3-month period.
Mm.
And what was killing him was his work. And I was in a position where I could work and build my business and pay off the debt that was holding him back from retiring. And that was the seed that was planted through that exercise. And then I let that fuel to drive me to build my business and all of that, where I got to the point where I was able to give my dad $60,000 and pay off the rest of his debt. And he was able to retire 3 years early. So, he just retired in December, actually. So,
dude, what a blessing. And that was another thing that connected you and I, both being from Ohio, and we both had the desire to retire our fathers. And I'm so glad you did it. I'm still working on mine. That's fucking awesome, though. Woo. So good. So today, even though you sold your business, you've been all over the world, literally just a whole new level of stepping into your own personal power and discovering, because, earlier, I think you freed a lot of us up by saying, hey, it's okay if you don't know what you want. Right? And you've been through that so many times yourself. But earlier, before we started this call, you did mention that, hey, thank God I'm starting to know myself. I've discovered a few things and I have purpose now. And I know that you've started a new mastermind that you referred to earlier on this call as the Brotherhood. Do you mind speaking to any of that? Where are you at now? What's your purpose? What are you up to? What's your mission in this season of your life?
Yeah. So over this past year, I went through big self-discovery journey. And like you were saying earlier, looked inwards instead of outwards. My last business, I was looking outwards. I was like, oh, I need to hit this number. We need to get to $50,000 or $500,000 a month.
KPIs and all this
all that stuff. And then I wasn't managing my energy correctly and I burnt out. So I went on this journey of like, what is energy? How do I optimize my energy? How do I optimize my mindset so I don't fall into old patterns? How do I connect deeply with people? How do I set up my my wealth building systems in a way where I don't have to worry about them? So those are the 4 pillars that we go through in the Masters of Fate Brotherhood. Right now it's a year long. Because this is a holistic approach to looking inwards and totally changing a man's life. We're going to open up a sisterhood. I'm going to hire a female CEO at the end of the year to bring these methodologies to women. There are 2 events per year. We're going to San Diego. For the first one, I was looking at hotels, and then I found this beautiful place in the middle of nowhere where they have ice baths, they have saunas, they have hiking trails. So we're doing a little bit different hotels and stuff.
Yes.
The mission comes down to helping people with self-mastery so they can get out of their, like, what I want to totally eradicate from this world are any mental disorders.
Come on.
Any depression, any anxiety, totally eradicate that through energy and mindset, in connection to others. And I think that's done through self-mastery and us focusing on ourselves and optimizing ourselves so our cup can spill over to others. So
I love that. If there are any people listening right now that are like, man, I would love to be a part of something like that. Is it even an option for our listeners to even hit you up for such a thing, or is it already, every seat taken for?
We're open. We're taking the guys who have the biggest hearts. They're the most hungry. They're the most willing to change and be vulnerable with other guys and grow together. So if that's you and you're a guy, just hit me up on Facebook or Instagram, and we can explore it together.
Yes, and if with your permission, we can maybe put your contact and links in the show notes for anyone watching and or listening. We'll give you a way to connect with Andrew. The mastermind is called what again?
The Masters of Fate Brotherhood. So it comes from the poem from William Ernest Hunley, Invictus. I'm master of my fate and captain of my soul.
What responsibility. That sounds like radical responsibility.
Yeah. When we master ourselves, we master our fate. So and it comes down to mindset, energy, relationships, and finances or wealth, and connection to self, connection to others, connection to purpose.
My God, what a beautiful purpose, Andrew. On purpose. Woo! Hey.
It feels a hell of a lot better than just selling marketing stuff.
No shit. I bet. You know?
Yeah. You see these guys change. We had a mini brotherhood meetup here in Mexico City. We had 4 guys come out. We had a beautiful steak dinner on Saturday night, just jammed out, connected, got super vulnerable. And then we did breath work on Monday morning together and got the guys to really open up, because I facilitate breath work sessions. And it was incredible.
So good. So good. And it's crazy how much of your mission aligns with Tattoo Business Mastery, and even this show, The Guardian's mission. We're serving with our whole heart to help lead people to freedom.
Yeah. And it's a journey, man.
It is. And it's a fun one. The alternative blows ass anyway. You know what I'm saying?
So I think everybody should know this.
Okay.
That life actually gets easier when we take the action. Like once we have those skill sets built up in us, my life is so much easier than it used to be. It's so much easier than laying in bed and ruminating on all the shit that I did wrong, all the things that I regret, all the things I wish I didn't say. Yeah. And instead taking the action, building up the skill sets, and being in a place where I feel like I can serve myself and I can serve others. Life feels so much easier this way.
Brother, right when you hopped on, I mean, you've always had a glow, but you got an extra glow about you now. You seem lighter and not carrying bricks on your shoulders.
You saw me at my lowest low, my man.
And folks, at his lowest, he still poured in and served me. It's just I feel like there's extra power in that, because even like when all this shit happened in my personal life, immediately when my wife got sick, I put everything on pause, everything on hold, and I hunkered down like, let's get her help. Let's wait on this storm to pass. Then I'll get back to living. Well, that day never came. So then I had to be faced with, well, what does it look like? How do I continue to live in the midst of the storm? And how can I still serve my community, all my students, the tattoo industry, my own crew, my own shop, serve with my whole heart, even if it's broken? But I believe there's been extra power in that, to give with your whole heart. And you did that with me when you were at your lowest, and you served me with your whole heart, like in every way, even physically, you all. I mean, this man basically, he just served me and put me up, let me live with him, would wake me up every morning, walk me to the coffee shop, right? And that alone changed my life, man. And
dude, I'm so grateful for you, because in that moment I felt so stifled, I felt so stuck, I didn't feel like myself, and you gave me nothing but love. So I'm really grateful for that.
So good. I really love you. I mean, so much you shared with us today, Andrew. I just can't thank you enough on behalf of all tattoo guardians across the world. And I love you gave us, questions to ask, like the 90-second, questions. Will you say those 4 one more time?
Yeah. Where am I playing small?
Where are you playing small?
What's that costing me?
What's that costing you?
What's that costing my loved ones?
Oh, what's it costing your loved ones?
And what's that costing the world?
And what is that costing the world?
And being able to do that exercise with somebody, we usually partner up with people they don't even know, but it can be a friend. You sit across from them for 90 seconds and you just talk. And when you're like, oh, I can't come up with anything else, you just keep talking. And that's exactly what's supposed to come up and exactly what's supposed to come out. And I had so many realizations about myself from just like letting myself word vomit, where I was like, oh man, I am playing small. That's costing a lot of people a lot of things.
Yep, which is what, when I had to be faced with those questions, which is what helped me lead to taking imperfect action. Because now it's bigger than us. It's bigger than me. This is costing so many other people's lives. Like, and like all my students are so glad for Tattoo Business Mastering. When I let them know, like, hey, what if I would have allowed my own insecurities, not being ready, unworthiness, not good enough, the triggers that we all get triggered to keep me playing small, to hold me back. And, their lives have changed. They're like, oh, you would have been the biggest asshole because it would have robbed everyone, including me, from some of the beautiful community we now have and the connection, all of that.
And I think to your point of imperfect action, do you remember my pitch at Tribe of Buyers Live?
Come on. Yes.
I had the belief in my head that I hated selling and that I was very bad at pitching. Pitching an offer. And I was up on stage.
And to create the setting, y'all, yes, he's up on stage. We're out in California. I think it was San Diego.
San Diego, California, 200 people in the crowd. Matt Clemmer looking deep into my eyes. A presentation behind me telling everybody out in the crowd how much this offer was. And I had my team behind me and a couple of clients, and I was going through the offer, and I remember talking. There were words coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
But in my head, I was like, Andrew, you're screwing this up. Andrew, this pitch is not going well. Yeah. And those were just running in my head, but I was still talking other words. I don't know how it was happening.
Yeah.
And I stopped myself because I felt totally incongruent with that offer, with that pitch. And I looked at the crowd and I'm like, hey guys, I feel like I'm totally screwing up this offer and this pitch, but I feel like this will change so many of your lives. Yeah. And I don't want my inability to pitch to prevent you from joining me. And I was just like, I don't know how this is going to go over. I'm not using any trickery. I'm just like, this is how I'm authentically feeling. I got a fucking standing ovation.
Standing ovation.
It's the most random shit that I was not expecting. Standing ovation. Brad behind me, who's my salesperson, I remember him saying, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, right.
Standing ovation. And I was like, oh man, maybe the trick is just being like real honest and vulnerable with how we're feeling, because other people are probably feeling it too.
Totally. And for you listeners, his pitch and from where I was sitting wasn't bad at all. But from his heart standpoint, and in the middle of pitch, and what he was pitching was a real expensive year-long mastermind, right? And so, meaning like it seemed like there was a lot more on the line. He wasn't just selling something for $120. It was like thousands of dollars,
$30,000. I can throw that. It was a $30,000 offer and a $60,000 offer.
Right. And in the middle of that pitch, he just basically stopped himself. It's like, I'm fucking this up. I'm not doing it. And I think he even alluded to how this isn't even coming across authentic. So he like stopped his own, gonged himself on the mic in front of all of us, and they just kept it real as fuck. And there was a pause, quiet, everyone processed, and was up out of their seats, like cheering and roaring like, fuck yeah, you know? And then everyone joined, or so many people signed up. I was one of them, you know?
It was nuts. I was like, oh, nobody's going to join. We did $1.1 million at that event. And I think if I wasn't honest and vulnerable, that number would have been so much lower. Plus, the people who joined wouldn't have gotten that impact. So that honesty and that vulnerability really just connected.
My God. That was so awesome. So fucking epic. Jeez. Imperfect action and clarity came to the doing, and truth surfaced because he had the courage to be vulnerable enough to keep it 100, play full on out. This, my friends, is where the real magic happens. And it can be uncomfortable. You don't know what you don't know. And we all want to feel safe staying in the knowing what we know. But the magic, life happens just outside of our comfort zone, right? Even ancient scripture says, you will be sent a comforter. Well, let's stop right there. Why would we even need sent a comforter if the plan was for you and I to stay safe and stuck in our own comfort zone? We must step out of our comfort zone, and that is where the comforter will show up and illuminate more, and magic happens every time.
Yeah. I love that.
Jeez.
My comfort zone used to be in my bed. Now my comfort zone is connecting with people. It used to be hiding from people. Now it's connecting to people.
It's as if the whole world is our playground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. Trying on different, like I've been trying on different beliefs. I've been trying on different values. I've been testing who I actually am. And it's been a playground. Nothing's right. Nothing's wrong. Everything just is. So let me find myself and define myself.
Yes. So fucking beautiful. Another thing you offered us today, which is powerful. So I just want to remind all you listeners, after this episode, if you feel led, grab a pen and paper and to create your never regret list. Things you've done, things you're up to, things you can be up to, people you can kick it with, blessed, receive from, whatever. Who can you surround yourself with? What can you sign up for? What can you do, be, or have that you know you'll never regret? All right? And then to fill your time with things on that list, you said.
Yeah. I've never regretted pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Like, giving me lessons. I think there might have been a hint of like, maybe I regret this, like where I would approach somebody and get blown out of the water and then I would feel bad. Yeah. But then I would reflect on it and I'd be like, wait, I just learned something. Yes. And I picked up a data point. So no, I never regretted it. So, yeah.
God, I love that. That's something we say all the time on this show. You're either going to win or you're going to learn, and both are very valuable, you know. So good. Andrew, I love you so much, and thank you for showing up and serving you from your table. It's been an honor from your heart. And guys, just for our listeners to know, I just asked Andrew yesterday if he'd even be willing and able to join me for the podcast today, knowing that Hip and Josh were out, and he said yes. And so I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for making time for all of us today.
Dude, anytime I get to hang out with you, anytime I get to serve, I would drop most things just to do this. So
my God, brother. Whew. What else is possible? How'd we get so lucky? You know, like Hip always says, this ain't your practice life. Like I always say, in case that whole reincarnation thing don't quite work out, this might be the only shot we got. Let's get it. And then someone else said, even if it is, let's still fucking get it. You know? Woo! My God. I speak blessings upon every single one of you. You are already perfect, whole, and complete in every way that you are and every way that you're not. Hopefully today's conversation is really giving you some perspective shifts and permission and little self-love and acceptance that it's okay wherever you're at. If you don't fucking know what you want or what's around, that's okay. You know, I feel like, Andrew, you gave us permission, and instead of beating ourselves up because I don't know, I need to figure my shit out. Everyone else seems to know what kind of artist they want to be, whatever the case. And that alone, I believe, can hold us back from growth. But to stop, surrender, and accept that you're perfect and it's okay right where you are today, where your feet are. That surrender, that letting go, and relinquishing the illusion of control is really what's going to get you there quicker. Man, to all you tattoo guardians, you faithful listeners, thank you all for your love and support. We will give you a way to connect with Andrew if you so desire. But like always, please write us in the comments on YouTube and let us know your feedback. What's 1 to 1,000? What's one big takeaway that you got from today's show? We definitely want to know, especially if you've got questions. I'm sure if enough people wanted to, that we might be able to get Mr. Kroeze, I call him King Kroeze, back on the show. We're here to serve you with our whole hearts. Thank you, every single one of you. And last but not least, in case you don't realize, Mike started the Tattoo Guardians Instagram and a Tattoo Business Mastery Instagram. Please go over, like, follow, subscribe, do all the things, and help join us in this mission to just be light to the world. Till next week, I thank you all so much for your faithfulness and your love and support. It's what keeps us coming back every week and serving you with our whole hearts. Today we made history. Me, King Kroeze. Brother Andrew, thank you so much. I love you, man.
Thank you, Matt. Love you too, buddy.
Till next week. See you, folks.